everybody, welcome back to another Jackson jet setting cruise video. Today I'm detailing what you need to know before sailing on the Carnival Luminosa, which is sailing out of Seattle on Alaska sailings and Sydney on South Pacific itineraries. She's been sailing since the year 2009 and once sailed for Costa Cruises, a sister line of Carnival. So let's go through some of my tips and tricks for sailing on the Luminosa. But before we do, if you like this video, give us a like, leave us a comment, and feel free to subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Carnival has over 24 ships sailing all over the world, but the Luminosa is a unique one in the fleet, as she sailed for Costa for many years and does not have the wild theming that you'll see on older Carnival ships. You can check out some of those wild themes on the channel, as I've sailed on many Carnival ships at this point. She also won't feature a lot of the branded restaurants that other Carnival ships have, like Guy's Burger Joint. However, she felt a lot classier than other Carnival ships I've been on and fit the Alaskan itinerary well. For my sailing, I stayed the night before in Seattle at the Hyatt Regency Seattle. You can see that video link for a tour of the property below, and I definitely recommend it. But there are plenty of pre-cruise options in Seattle. The port itself is located a little north of downtown, so you can't stay right next to the port, but it was a short Uber ride away. Carnival also offers transfers for those flying in same day for the cruise, which I do not recommend at all. But there is plenty of things to do in Seattle, including the Space Needle, Pike's Place Market, and the Museum of Flight. I had a noon check-in time at Carnival's cruise terminal, which is well designed and some of the most polite port workers I've ever come across. The way I timed my arrival, I didn't spend more than 10 minutes in the terminal and things went really smoothly, but if you do arrive early, there are waiting areas after you clear security. On this cruise, I was now the gold status in Carnival's VIFP loyalty program, which doesn't get me any specialty treatment in the terminal. That actually starts at platinum status and above. While I think Carnival's website and app aren't all that great before you cruise for planning, I do think the app works really great on board. You don't need an internet package to use it, but if you do decide to buy an internet package, you gotta book it early and pair it with an excursion on the same purchase to save 10% on the internet portion of your purchase. As a little tip to save some money. In terms of checked luggage, you got to make sure that you're bringing all your electronics that are actually cruise approved. So surge protectors are a big no-no. Anything that heats up like irons, clothes steamers, heating pads, humidifiers. There are normally self-service laundry on most Carnival ships, but unfortunately the Luminosa does not have that because it was originally a Costa ship. The Luminosa allows you to bring one bottle of wine on board per adult, which can be a great savings to get your cruise started. They offer several different types of beverage packages on board, which can vary in price, but unlike other lines, Carnival limits you to 15 alcoholic drinks per 24-hour period, starting at 6 a.m. If you hit your limit, non-alcoholic drinks are available to be consumed for free, and you can actually just get a non-alcoholic package in general. The ship has only one dining room and one specialty restaurant, Fahrenheit 555. I do recommend the steakhouse, but know that the menu is very similar to other specialty restaurants on other Carnival ships. There are also upcharge seafood options on the buffet, and Bonsai, which is located in the casino, which I felt was a very weird location. My favorite dining location on the ship was actually the pizza restaurant that's open super late night up until about 4 a.m., I believe. It's in the buffet area, and the pizza options were really good on board. The food on board Carnival was pretty great overall, but note that the Luminosa is very different than other Carnival ships. So Guy's Burger Joint doesn't exist on board, and neither does Blue Iguana's Mexican restaurant. The ship has mostly unbranded restaurants and bars, though the Alchemy Bar and the Red Frog Pub do make an appearance. The Red Frog Pub often has a location at the pool and on the lower decks inside. This ship only had the Red Frog Pub up on the pool deck. Carnival does a great job about entertainment on board. Their cruise directors are very high energy, and I see them more often than any other lines' cruise directors. Even on a cold weather itinerary, there was a pool under a retractable roof and plenty of hot tubs to use. Note that there are no water slides on the Luminosa, but there's a small mini golf course and lots of games on the upper enclosed portion of the pool deck. And on the Alaska sailings, they do have a naturalist on board explaining a lot of the different wildlife that you're going to see in Alaska, and they host deck walks when you're going through areas that you're going to see a lot of wildlife. That was a really, really nice feature of this cruise. I thought that Emily, our naturalist, did an amazing job. The Luminosa will sail to Alaska in those summer months of the Northern Hemisphere and then switch over to Australia in the Southern Hemisphere's summer. I can't speak to the Australian itineraries because I've never taken one there, but in Alaska, the round trip is from Seattle, and it makes it a convenient cruise to check out Juneau, Skagway, Ketchikan, and Victoria, British Columbia. You can check out my vlogs from port on the channel for more information on things to do in each one of those stops. For cabin selection, I recommend getting a higher floor and a balcony if you're a first-time cruiser, but also because this is an Alaska itinerary with just so much scenery right outside the ship, you're going to want that balcony, or at least an ocean view. For me, I sailed in a balcony cabin. I wouldn't hesitate to book it again. There was plenty of room for my dad and I, and we were barely in the room, honestly, but it was nice to have that balcony check on the weather before we got off the ship because the weather can just change so dramatically in Alaska. I do recommend bringing an adapter for European plugs to add in a little extra charging station in the room. I recommend that on any cruise ship, by the way. But those are my tips for sailing on the Carnival Luminosa. What tips do y'all have? Let me know in the comments, and happy sailing.